an investment. And if you're not using that investment, it's just sitting there collecting dust. And yeah, I'm sure they use it. I'm sure it's a multi-purpose facility. I'm sure they train there or they shoot other stuff there or commercials or features or,
Dana White's
you know,
Contender Series, stuff like
okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a great place to do those things. And that's a huge number to sink into a facility, a venue that you're not going to use to its fullest potential. That's for sure. That's a big number. So I would be looking for a return on that number for sure.
Yeah, and the return is to use it for years and years and years and years, forever.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's a good way to go. Like I said, if you take away a lot of planning or a lot of questions, a lot of X factors, if you know where it is, you know how it goes. It's already set up, right? The octagon doesn't need to be packed and trucked and unloaded and set up and make sure it goes right. Make sure we don't break anything during setup or tear down. Anything can happen in that type of situation. So, if you have that type of facility and you've spent that much money to build it, rock and roll.
Right. And also, like I was asking you offline, do you think it would make sense to make your own hotel, almost like a casino setup? Like here in Oklahoma, we have God knows how many Indian casinos. And it's not like all of them are gigantic, but most of them have like their own hotel, and then they have the venue, the casino. And they have a place where acts can come too.
Yeah, I
Would it
mean,
almost make sense for them to make their own hotel or no?
it depends on what your goal was for that hotel. If your goal for that hotel was for housing for fighters, entourage,
Right.
production staff, and if it was like a staff thing and you only needed, say 50, 75, 100 rooms, that makes sense. Um, I don't know if it makes sense to build something bigger or
Right.
more than that when there's 20 of those within a 5 mile radius. I'm sure there's a long line of hotels and casinos, dying to do business with the UFC in Las Vegas. Not to mention the fact that one of the former owners, they own the Station Casino chain, so I'm sure that relationship still exists. So I don't, I could see it, for lack of a better term, we could call it like a dormitory setup or a temporary housing setup for the people that are in town for the show for that weekend. But I don't know that it makes sense to try to go bigger. Just because I don't know that you'd want to open it up to the public too much because
Right.
that's your offices, that's your training facility. Fighters are coming and going. You kind of don't want to have to